Let's break this down into numbers. The average human lifespan is 30,000 days. If you're 30 years old, you have about 20,000 left. If you're 40, you have about 14,600 left. If you're 50, you're down to just 11,000. That may sound like a lot until you realize how fast time moves. Think about it. 10 years ago feels like yesterday. The next 10 will pass even faster. Yet, most people live as if they have infinite time. They put off dreams, delay happiness, and assume there will always be more tomorrows. But there won't. The Stoics had a saying, memento mori, remember, you will die. Not to scare you, but to wake you, because time is not something you lose, it's something you exchange. Every hour you spend scrolling, hesitating, or waiting is an hour you traded away forever. So, ask yourself, are you chasing your dreams or just passing time? Are you building relationships or just filling your calendar? Are you truly living or just existing? Because once a day is gone, it's gone forever. You don't get it back. So the real question isn't how much time you have left, it's how you will spend it. And the answer starts today. Time is not yours. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through the news. Somewhere, someone your age has just died. Maybe a heart attack, maybe an accident. Maybe they went to bed, fully expecting another tomorrow, and never woke up. What makes you think you're any different? Most people live as if they have all the time in the world. They push their dreams into a future that may never come. I'll do it next year. I'll start when things settle. I have plenty of time. But do you? If you're 30, you have about 20,000 days left. If you're 40, it's 14,600. If you're 50, you're down to just 11,000. And those numbers seem big until you realize how quickly time moves. 10 years ago feels like yesterday. The next 10 will pass even faster. Yet, instead of treating time as the most precious currency, people spend it like it's infinite. Hours lost to distractions, routines, and hesitation. They live on autopilot, waiting for a future they assume will always be there. I knew a man like that, a close friend. He was 42, healthy, ambitious. He always talked about the things he'd do one day, that dream trip, that passion project, that extra time with family. But one night without warning, his heart stopped. And just like that, his one day was gone. He had plans, he had time, until he didn't. Seneca warned us long ago, you act like mortals in what you fear and like immortals in what you desire. People are terrified of failure, discomfort, and rejection, as if life is long enough to waste time hesitating. But when it comes to their ambitions, their dreams, their true purpose, they act as if they'll live forever. That's the paradox. You put things off, waiting for the perfect time. You hesitate. You overthink. You assume there will always be more days, more chances, more tomorrows. But what if there aren't? Time is not something you lose. It's something you trade, every single moment. Every hour spent scrolling, complaining, and overthinking is an hour exchanged. An hour you will never get back. A wasted day is a day burned forever. A wasted year is a year erased from your life. And once it's gone, it's gone. So what do? First, kill the illusion of later. If something is important, do it now. If you have a dream, chase it today. If you love someone, tell them now. Don't wait for a future you may never reach. Second, audit your life. Look at where your time is actually going. How many hours are lost to meaningless distractions? How many days slip by unnoticed? How much of your life is being truly lived? Finally, act as if your days are numbered, because they are. This isn't about fear. This isn't about anxiety. This is about urgency. The kind that wakes you up and forces you to start living. The kind that makes you ask yourself, if today was my last, would I be proud of how I spent it? So ask yourself right now, are you spending your time or just letting it slip away? Are you living deliberately or just existing passively? Are you chasing what truly matters or just killing time? Because the real tragedy isn't death. The real tragedy is getting to the end and realizing you never truly lived. Don't wait. Don't assume you'll have another chance. Whatever you've been postponing, start today, because today is the only thing you truly own. 2. Time moves faster than you think. When I was 10, a summer felt like forever. Days stretched endlessly, packed with adventure, discovery, and wonder. A single afternoon could feel like a lifetime. But now, years vanish in a blink. I turned 30, then 40. One day I looked up and realized an entire decade had disappeared. I had nothing remarkable to show for it, just a blur of routines, obligations, and sameness. It wasn't that time moved faster. I was just running in place. Think about it. When was the last time a single day felt long? Not because it was tedious, but because it was full? This is the time unit paradox. The more novel experiences you have, the slower time feels. When you were a child, everything was new. Your brain recorded each detail, stretching time in your memory. But as you grow older, life becomes predictable. The same commute, the same job, the same conversations. And because your brain isn't recording anything fresh, time speeds up. 1 year collapses into a month. A decade becomes a flash. And then, before you know it, you're at the end, wondering where it all went. Most people don't realize this until it's too late. They wake up at 50, 60, 70 and panic. They say life went by so fast. But it wasn't life. It was them. They stopped living deliberately. They let time become a routine instead of an adventure. This is why old age is full of regret. People don't regret working too little or making less money. They regret all the years that blurred together. They regret the moments they never made. And this is where the Stoics had it right. Seneca warned us, life is long if you know how to use it. The problem isn't that time is short. The problem is that most people waste it. They wake up, go to work, scroll their phones, distract themselves with trivial tasks, go to bed, and then repeat. Days blend into weeks, weeks into years, and suddenly the person looking back at them in the mirror is much older, wondering where all the time went. The worst part? They thought they had more. I had this realization a few years ago. My life was on autopilot. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't really present either. I was just passing the time. And then one day I looked at a photo from 10 years ago, and it hit me. A whole decade had passed, and I couldn't even remember most of it. I had spent years waiting for something to happen, waiting for the right time to take a risk, to travel, to change. But nothing ever changed, because I didn't change. And if I kept going, another decade would slip away just as easily. So what's the solution? How do you slow time down again? First, break the cycle. If you live the same way every day, your brain stops paying attention. So wake it up. Take a different route to work. Change your morning routine. Talk to someone new. Learn something unfamiliar. Anything that forces your brain to be present will make time stretch. Second, stop sleepwalking through life. Too many people drift, waiting for something to happen. They chase comfort. They avoid difficulty. They go through the motions, assuming there will always be time later. But the truth? Every day lived without intention is a day erased. It's gone, and it's never coming back. Third, embrace discomfort. Growth makes time slow down. Struggle forces you to pay attention. This is why the most vivid memories in your life are often the hardest ones, because your brain was fully engaged. And finally, stop saying someday. The next year won't be different unless you make it different. The next decade won't slow down unless you force it to. Time is not something you can store up for later. It is always moving, always slipping away. You can either use it or lose it. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that stretches time, or are you just letting the years vanish? Because time isn't speeding up, you are just standing still. And if you don't take action now, one day you'll wake up and realize you ran out of time. 3. Being busy is not the same as living. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Socrates. A Wall Street executive worked 80-hour weeks for 30 years. He skipped family dinners, missed weekends, canceled vacations. He told himself it was all for a purpose. He was building something. But when he finally retired, he sat in his luxury apartment, surrounded by success, and realized he had nothing. No real friendships, no deep connections. Just a calendar full of meetings that no longer mattered. This is the lie modern society tells us. Busyness equals importance. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. We say, I'm too busy, as if it proves our worth. But here's the truth. Being busy is not the same as being alive. People rush through life as if productivity itself is the goal. They work tirelessly, convinced that one day, after they've made enough money and climbed high enough, then they'll finally live. But that day never comes, because the habit of constant busyness doesn't stop. It consumes. It replaces meaning with motion. Look around. How many people do you know who are always too busy? Too busy to meet up, too busy to call, too busy to enjoy life. They fill their days with endless tasks, yet when asked what truly fulfills them, they don't have an answer, because they've never stopped to think about it. The Stoics understood this. Seneca warned us, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. We think we lack time, but the truth is, we throw it away on things that don't matter." Endless emails, meetings that could have been a message, social media scrolling, rushing from one obligation to the next, mistaking movement for meaning. And the cost? A life half-lived. A life measured by checklists instead of moments. A life was spent climbing ladders only to realize they were leaning against the wrong walls. A life where weekends vanish, vacations shrink, and suddenly retirement is here, leaving you wondering where it all went. So how do you, first, define what actually matters? What are the moments that make life rich for you? What are the experiences you would regret missing? Name them. Write them down. Then look at your schedule. How much of your time actually goes toward those things? If the answer is not enough, it's time to make a change. Second, stop glorifying busyness. Just because something fills your time doesn't mean it deserves your time. Learn to say no to meaningless work. Cut out distractions. Don't mistake a packed schedule for a meaningful life. Third, prioritize presence over productivity. Some of the most valuable moments in life happen in the quiet. The laughter over dinner. The long conversation with an old friend. Watching the sunrise with someone you love. These moments won't demand your attention. They won't show up on your calendar. You have to make space for them. And finally, understand that time is not refundable. You can always make more money. You can always take on more work. But you will never get back the hours you lost today. So ask yourself, are you living or just checking boxes? Are you building memories or just scheduling tasks? Are you truly present or just busy? Because no one, at the end of their life, wishes they had spent more time at the office. No one regrets taking an extra walk, an extra hug, an extra moment to breathe. Busyness will always be there. But life is slipping away. The question is, will you stop long enough to live it? 4. Are you investing or wasting your life? What are you doing with your time? Not in theory, not in vague, abstract terms. Right now, today. Are you investing in your future, or are you just killing time? People always talk about saving time, but time isn't meant to be saved, it's meant to be invested. You can't hoard it, you can't stockpile it for later. It moves, whether you use it wisely or waste it. The real question is, where are you putting it? Two men, both in their 60s. One spent decades investing in his health, his mind, and his relationships. He exercised daily. He read books. He made time for deep conversations with the people he loved. His life was built on intentional choices. The other, he spent years drowning in distractions, watching TV for hours, complaining about things he never tried to change, wasting days on meaningless tasks, always assuming there would be more time. Now, one man is thriving. The other is filled with regret. The difference? One treated time like an investment. The other treated it like an endless supply. Every day, you make choices. Netflix or learning a new skill, 5 hours of TV, or 1 hour of entertainment followed by 4 hours of personal growth. Each decision is a trade. One choice compounds over time, making you stronger. The other leaves you stagnant. The Stoics understood this. Seneca warned us, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Most people aren't struggling because they don't have enough time. They struggle because they spend time on things that give nothing in return. Think about how you spend your days. How many hours are lost to scrolling, watching, and consuming without gaining anything meaningful? How often do you say, I'll start tomorrow? But tomorrow turns into next week turns into next year. And suddenly, a decade has disappeared. So ask yourself, are you building something? Are you growing? Or are you just passing the time? Let's make this real. Look at your last week. How many hours did you spend complaining about things you can't change? How many hours were lost to mindless entertainment that added nothing to your life? How many times did you say yes to obligations that drained your energy and left you feeling empty? Now, compare that to the hours you spent learning something valuable, the time you invested in strengthening your body, the moments you deepen your relationships. If the second list is shorter than the first, you're not investing your time. You're wasting it. And here's the brutal truth. Wasted time doesn't come back. Imagine a bank account where every morning you receive 24 hours. By midnight, anything unused is erased. You can't roll it over. You can't save it for later. The only thing that matters is how you spend it. Some people invest. They use time to build something that lasts. Others spend recklessly, thinking they have an unlimited supply, until one day they check their balance and realize they're out. So what can you do? First, audit your time. Track where your hours go. Be brutally honest. You can't change what you don't measure. Second, eliminate the useless. If something doesn't add value, cut it. Time spent arguing online? Wasted. Mindless scrolling? Wasted. Complaining about things outside your control? Wasted. Third, replace consumption with creation. Watch less, read more, scroll less, move more, talk less, do more. Time rewards those who use it wisely. Fourth, stop waiting. The perfect time to start doesn't exist. There's only now. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. Some people understand this too late. They look back at their lives and wonder where all the years went. They wonder how they got to their 40s, 50s, or 60s without ever doing what they truly wanted. They regret the dreams they never pursued, the risks they never took, and the moments they let slip away. But here's the good news. You are not them. You still have time, but only if you stop wasting it. So ask yourself, and be honest, are you investing your time or throwing it away? Because every second is a choice, and every choice shapes your future. Choose wisely. Time never gives refunds. 5. 2 ways of living. Which one are you? 2 men stand in front of a mirror. One sees a face lined with regret, the weight of wasted years pressing on his shoulders. The other sees a man who truly lived, someone who embraced each moment with intention. Same age, they are the same number of days behind them, but their reflections tell 2 entirely different stories. This is the reality most people don't want to face. Life is not measured in years, but in the choices we make every single day. Some live deliberately. Others just let time pass. Some invest in their future. Others burn through their days like they have an infinite supply. I once knew a man who had it all on paper: a high-paying job, a big house, a calendar filled with meetings, calls, and business trips. He was always busy, too busy for vacations, too busy with his children's recitals, too busy to sit down and have a real conversation. Decades passed this way. And then one day, he retired. He finally had all the time in the world, but no idea what to do with it. His kids were grown, his marriage was cold, his body was weak, his mind was restless but empty. He had spent a lifetime preparing for a future he never truly lived. Then there was another man. He worked hard, but he understood something most people ignore. Life is happening now. He didn't wait for retirement to start living. He made time for his passions. He prioritized relationships over deadlines. He took risks, embraced challenges, and found meaning beyond just making a living. And when he stood in front of the mirror, decades later, he didn't see regret. He saw a man who used time rather than letting time use him. These are the 2 ways of living. The first is passive, a slow drift toward an inevitable end, filled with routines, obligations, and empty busyness. The second is intentional, marked by presence, depth, and a refusal to let life slip through your fingers. Which one are you choosing? The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." They knew that death is not something that comes far in the future. It is approaching every single second. The question is not how long you live, but how deeply. So how do you start living deliberately? First, stop waiting. Too many people act like life will begin after something. After they get a promotion, after they buy a house, after they have more free time. But life is always now. If you don't learn to enjoy today, you won't enjoy tomorrow. Second, eliminate the unnecessary. How much of your day is spent on things that truly matter? How much is just noise, meetings, scrolling, worrying about things you can't control? A meaningful life isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it with intention. Third, choose discomfort over regret. People avoid challenges because they fear failure, but the real failure is looking back and realizing you never tried. Growth happens when you step beyond what's easy. Fulfillment comes from doing the hard things, the things that scare you, and the things that demand effort. Finally, measure your life differently. Stop counting years. Stop counting hours worked, emails sent, or tasks completed. Instead, count the moments that took your breath away. The deep conversations, the risks you took, the connections you made. Because one day, you will stand in front of that mirror, and what you see will depend entirely on the choices you made today. So ask yourself, are you just existing, or are you truly living? 6. Mastering the art of stopping. People are always running, always chasing the next promotion, the next goal, the next distraction. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most never stop long enough to ask, why am I running? We live in a world that glorifies persistence. Society tells you to never quit, keep pushing, and hustle harder. But what if the real wisdom isn't just in knowing when to push forward, but also in knowing when to stop? Stopping is an art, and most people never master it. I learned this the hard way. I spent years pouring everything into a project. Late nights, sacrificed weekends. I kept telling myself, it'll get better. I just need to try harder. But deep down, I knew the truth. It wasn't working. I ignored the signs, convinced that if I just held on a little longer, things would change. They didn't. And after years of effort, I finally admitted it. I let go. And for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Freedom. This is what people don't understand. Stopping isn't failure. It's clarity. The Stoics knew this. Seneca said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." People waste years on things they should have walked away from. They stay in jobs that drain them. They hold on to relationships that no longer bring them peace. They cling to routines that make them miserable, because stopping feels like giving up. But here's the reality. Not everything is meant to be finished. If a plane is going down, the smartest thing to do isn't to try harder. It's to eject. If you're on the wrong path, the strongest move isn't to keep walking. It's to turn around. If you're stuck in a cycle that doesn't serve you, the bravest decision isn't to endure, it's to let go. Stopping doesn't mean you lack discipline. It means you have clarity. It means you value your time enough not to waste it. It means you understand that effort alone isn't enough. Direction matters. So how do you master the art of stopping? First, permit yourself. The world tells you that quitting is weak, that stopping is shameful, that if you just push a little harder, everything will work out. But that's a lie. Strength isn't just about enduring. It's about knowing where to put your energy and where to stop wasting it. Second, practice intentional stillness. Take one day, no phone, no work, no schedule. Just sit with yourself. Most people can't do it. They panic when faced with silence. They need distractions, movement, and noise because stopping forces them to confront reality. But stillness is powerful. It lets you see clearly what truly matters. Third, evaluate your commitments. Look at everything you're involved in. Every job, every project, every routine. Ask yourself, is this leading me somewhere meaningful? Or am I just afraid to let it go? If it's not adding to your life, it's subtracting from it. And finally, understand that stopping isn't the end. It's the beginning. Letting go of the wrong thing creates space for the right thing. Walking away from the wrong path allows you to find the right one. Stopping isn't about losing, it's about choosing. Choosing what's worth your time. Choosing where your energy should go. Choosing to live deliberately, rather than just moving for the sake of movement. So ask yourself, are you running towards something meaningful? Or are you just afraid to stop? Because the truth is, if you never stop and reflect, you might spend years going in the wrong direction. And the scariest part? You won't realize it until it's too late. Look at death to learn how to live. A nurse once recorded the top regrets of the dying. The most common? I wish I had lived true to myself, not what others expected of me. Not I wish I had worked more. Not I wish I had made more money. Not I wish I had played it safe. No one, at the end of their life, wishes they had spent more time fitting in, more time hesitating. They spent more time worrying about what others thought of them. They regret the chances they never took, the dreams they buried, the time they wasted waiting for the right moment, waiting for permission, waiting for someday. But someday never comes. Memento mori. Remember, you will die, not to scare you, but to wake you up. Most people avoid thinking about death. They pretend it's far away. They act as if they have unlimited tomorrows. But the Stoics understood a truth that most ignore. When you embrace death, you learn how to live. Because if you had just 1 year left, what would you do differently? Would you still stay in that job you hate? Would you still put off your dreams? Would you still let fear control you? Or would you finally start? This is the problem. People think they have time, so they hesitate. They delay. They choose comfort over courage. But time is not something you own. It is something you borrow. And one day, it will run out. Imagine this. You are handed a countdown clock the moment you are born. The problem? You can't see how much time is left. It could be 50 years, it could be 5 months, it could be 5 minutes, and every second the number drops. How would you live if you could see the countdown? Would you still be afraid to take risks? Would you still waste hours on things that don't matter? Would you still hold back from telling the people you love how much they mean to you? Life is short. The tragedy is not that it ends. The tragedy is that most never truly live. The ancient Stoics kept death close. They saw it not as something to fear, but as something to guide them. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. That's the real danger, not death itself, but a life half-lived, a life filled with distractions instead of purpose, with regrets instead of memories." So what can you do? First, stop waiting. If something matters, do it now. Not next year, not when it's convenient. Waiting is a gamble, and the odds are not in your favor. Second, define what truly matters. Strip away the noise. What do you want your life to stand for? What do you want to be remembered for? Most people never ask this question, so they drift, filling their time with things that don't matter. Third, make death your ally. Instead of fearing it, use it. Let it remind you to be present. Let it push you to take action. Let it strip away the fear that holds you back. Death makes all the trivial things disappear. The opinions of strangers, the fear of failure, the worry about what could go wrong. None of it matters when you remember the clock is ticking. Think about the moments in your life that truly mattered. The deep conversations, the risks you took, the times you laughed so hard you cried, the moments you felt fully alive. That's what stays with you. Not the hours spent scrolling, not the meetings that went nowhere, not the things you did just because society expected you to. So the real question is not how much time you have left. The real question is, what will you do with the time you still have? Because one day, your clock will hit 0. And when it does, the only thing that will matter is whether you truly lived. So stop waiting. Start now. 8. Act now. No more waiting. What are you waiting for? The perfect moment? The right conditions? A sign? The truth is, that moment will never come. Most people spend their lives waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for fear to disappear. But waiting is a trap. The more you wait, the weaker you become. The more you hesitate, the harder it gets. Every second you delay, you lose something you'll never get back. Time. There's a reason the best time to start was yesterday. Because every day you put off action, you fall further behind. The second best time? Right now. But most people don't move. They overthink. They analyze, they tell themselves, I'll start when I'm ready. But here's the secret. No one ever feels ready. Readiness is an illusion. You don't wait for it, you create it. Elon Musk doesn't wait. When he launched SpaceX, he didn't have all the answers. He didn't have a perfect plan, but he knew one thing. Progress comes from action, not hesitation. He launched fast, learned fast, adjusted fast. Because perfection isn't the goal, momentum is. Yet most people do the opposite. They sit on ideas for years. They dream, they talk, they make plans, but they never execute. And one day, they wake up and realize they've run out of time. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow? How many dreams have you buried under excuses? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you hesitated? Time doesn't wait. It keeps moving. And every moment you spend thinking instead of doing, life moves on without you. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He wasn't being dramatic, he was being real. You don't have time to waste. People act like life is this endless road stretching far into the future. But it's not. It's a fuse, already burning. The problem is, you don't know how much wick is left. It could be decades. It could be months. It could be days. And you'll never know until it's gone. So what can you do? First, stop overthinking. Clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from moving. You figure things out by doing, not by waiting for the perfect plan. Second, Take imperfect action. Your first step won't be perfect. Your first attempt might fail. That's fine. Failure isn't the enemy. Inaction is. The greatest innovators, the most successful people, they don't wait for perfection. They move, they adapt, they refine as they go. Third, eliminate the excuses. I don't have time. I don't have resources. I'm not ready. Excuses are just lies. Fear tells you to keep you stagnant. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You need to start. Fourth, act like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future self is being built right now, at this very moment. Every second you hesitate, you steal from the person you could become. Think about this. In 1 year, you will either be 1 year ahead or still standing in the same place, telling yourself the same excuses. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are simply the ones who acted while others waited. Most people live as if they are immortal. They assume there will always be another chance. But there won't. The future isn't guaranteed. The dreams you have today might never have the chance to be realized tomorrow. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you're out of time. You'll wish you had started earlier. You'll wish you had written that book, launched that business, and taken that risk. But by then it's too late. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop lying to yourself about later. Because later is a fantasy. The only time you have is now. Take action. Make the move. Send the email. Make the call. Take the first step. Do it today. Because the harsh truth is this: life isn't waiting for you, and it never will. Act now. No more waiting. Life is not infinite. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back. The question is, are you spending your time or simply losing it? The Stoics understood this truth deeply. Seneca warned us, life is long if you know how to use it. Yet most people waste it, postponing dreams, delaying decisions, waiting for the perfect time. But the perfect time never comes. You have a choice. You can live deliberately, investing your time in growth, relationships, and experiences that matter. Or you can drift, letting days slip by, filled with distractions, regrets, and the illusion that there's always more time. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Not to create fear, but to inspire action. Because when you truly understand that life is fragile, you stop wasting it. You stop hesitating. You stop waiting. So start today. Cut out what doesn't serve you and focus on what matters. Take action now. This isn't just a philosophy. It's a way of living, a practice, a discipline. And like anything valuable, it must be trained daily. Now I want to hear from you. What's one thing you've been delaying? Share your story in the comments below. Let's build a community that chooses to live fully. Not someday, but right now.